to another edition of Mulligan Speakers International, MSI Showcase. I'm Diane Mulligan with Mulligan Speakers International, and each week we bring you some of our speakers to really give you an idea about their passions, who they are, and their excellent abilities to integrate current events into topics of their expertise. Today we're talking with Simon Bailey and Chuck Blakeman. Simon, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome.
Excellent.
It's good to be here.
It's great to have you. And Chuck, how are you?
Well, I can't be awesome because Simon already is, but I'm doing great.
You know, Simon's that way. He always takes that awesome word. We just have to put up with it. So, Simon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Simon T. Bailey. I live in Windermere, Florida, and when I'm not on the stage speaking, I'm probably in a movie theater with my feet kicked up and a bucket of popcorn laughing out loud.
That sounds great. I love that. And what types of things do you like to talk about, Simon?
I mostly work with organizations to help them shift the mindsets of their individuals to drive results and, most importantly, release brilliance.
Excellent, excellent. And Chuck, when you're not in the movie theater with Simon, what are you doing?
I'll be going uphill on a bicycle and seeing if I can get to the place where it snows.
Excellent. I love that. And what do you talk about when you're out there talking to your audiences?
Well, my audience is business owners, and I work with them to help them get off the treadmill and get back to the passion that brought them into business in the first place. They forgot it used to be fun, and we want to make it fun again and get them a life.
You know, I am so glad you're a part of my life because you absolutely keep it fun for me. So thank you very much for doing that. So today what we're going to talk about is an issue that I think is very important to meeting planners, and that's how do we explain and get the word out to audiences about what we do and what we're going to talk about and what skills they're going to learn so that those conference attendees get excited about it coming to the conference, but we also give them the skills to walk into their boss's office and actually have them write the check so that they can attend the conference. How does the speaker and the meeting planner work together so that the conference attendees are not only excited, but they have that critical information? Simon, why don't you start on that? How do you work through that?
What I really love to do is partner with the meeting planner and really start with the end in mind and look at what does success look like 90 days from now. So how will we know that this was a good investment? And specifically, what are the core objectives of the organization, the corporation, and then how do I take those objectives? So, for instance, one of the big objectives, if we were to use the banking industry right now, is this whole return to personal touch and ensuring that the bankers are spending time with their customers and then they're referring it on to different departments. So once I understand that, I believe you've got to take your content and use examples and give how-tos that people can implement immediately when they get back to the office as it relates to the personal touch and driving customer loyalty.
Very cool. Chuck, you do the same type of thing, right?
Yeah, what he said. Maybe a little, but let me amplify on that because I do like to talk. I think Simon's right on. 90% of the solution is asking the right question, and so we have to find out what they want us to cover and listening and making sure that we get a real clear understanding of what they want us to cover. And then I want to work with the meeting planners. They're used to people giving them information. And I've spent enough time with Simon to know that he doesn't do this, so I'm safe in saying this, that a lot of speakers, their content is about their content, and it's about information, it's about education. And I think one of the things that would make a meeting planner be willing to go write the check is to tell them that our objective is to be transformative, not educational. We want something to change. I've even been so bold as to tell some meeting planners, I really don't care if you learn anything. I just want something to change. And I think Simon takes that same approach when he talks. And I think that's the way we're going to get people to write checks, is to have them go back and implement some kind of transformative action, no matter how small. We want everybody to go back and do something differently as a result of being in a meeting.
And to take that a step further, it's also ensuring that managers and leaders not only know the outcomes that are supposed to happen in the meeting, but they are challenging their individuals that week. So what are you going to do this week to implement one step? What are you going to do the next week? What are you going to do the following week? And ensure that they follow up so it doesn't die on the vine. Because sometimes people can go to sessions, they write good notes, but then they walk outside the door and life happens. And so how we really shift that habit is to have ongoing individual conversation. And one of the things I like to tell leaders is take 5 minutes. 5 minutes just to challenge your people and talk. What'd you learn? What are you going to do this week? And incorporate that in their daily task.
Yeah, I think it's important that one of the problems people have is when they go to meetings like this, before they go to the meeting, life is about two things, the tyranny of the urgent and the priority of the important. We're pulled between these two things all the time. And when they sit in that meeting for an hour or 2 hours, they have all these tyrannical, urgent things that wash over them, email, phone, customer concerns, everything else. And as soon as they step out of the meeting, they step right back into the rat race and get back on the treadmill. And we have to figure out how to help the leaders that they're going back to have one or two transformative questions as a result of our meeting and transformative actions for them to take so that they can see progress in the midst of all the tyranny of the urgent, so that they can get themselves focused on the priority of the important. That's how they're going to make more money in less time. It's easy to make more money in more time. We want them to figure out how to do the other.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I think, to build on what Chuck is saying, our goal in partnering with the meeting planner is to create an educational contract. And what this educational contract comes down to two things: accountability and personal responsibility. We are going to take personal responsibility to ensure that we exceed expectations when we speak, but then we're also going to challenge them to say, those that are listening to us, how are you going to be accountable to what's been shared? And then we want to know 30, 60, 90 days, what's changed, what's shifted, what's different, what are the results? And if we do that, personal responsibility and accountability, then we have an educational content contract that can never be broken.
Well, these are great ideas, and I think they're very, very much on target. And it's just the kind of thing that meeting planners really need to know that is in each of your heads when we're really putting together the programs for them so that they're going to get their best bang for the buck. Because, you know, guys, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is really, are we going to make that huge difference for those audiences?
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, Chuck Blakeman and Simon T. Bailey. I'm so glad we were able to do this and spend just a minute talking about kind of where we are and our perspective of how we approach those meeting planners. I'm Diane Mulligan with Mulligan Speakers International. I hope that you've enjoyed our discussion today, and I hope that you will see here's perfect examples of how our speakers are really transformation agents. They really are out there to work closely with you to make a difference for your audience and have a lasting impact. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.